Hello and welcome to another day in paradise, aka
Adelaide, coolest city in this part of Australia.
So this is the SolarQuotes Vodcast episode 4.
Yes, it is.
How were the first 3 for you, Ronald?
Much less painful because I just fell down the stairs before we did this one.
I wish we had the camera rolling.
It was pretty hilarious for everyone who wasn't me.
There was Pepsi Max all over the floor.
Oh, don't give Pepsi Max free advertising. They got me drunk. They threw me on the floor, and all I've got to show for it is a swollen knee. Are you wearing your Tesla lanyard there?
Yeah. Would you like to know how I got it?
Oh, definitely.
Tesla accidentally invited me to the Powerwall 2 launch, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yes.
I got the email saying, Finn, you're invited to the Tesla Powerwall 2 launch in Melbourne.
Ooh.
And I thought, oh wow, they've forgiven me. But when I got there, it soon dawned on me that I got an invitation automatically because I was on the Tesla Powerwall 2 reservation list.
Oh, right.
I put down a $500 reservation.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up getting a Powerwall 2, but not through Tesla, through AGL, because it was dirt cheap, like $4,000 instead of 15.
Yes, it'd be a bit silly not to take that.
It gets me a discount in Nando's.
Really? Well, I'll have to get me one of them.
Seriously, my local Westfield, you go into Nando's,
Yep.
the guy goes, oh, you work for the Tesla pop-up store, you get 10% off. And
Woohoo!
I go, so whatever you do, don't tell anyone.
Oh, no, yep.
Anyway, let's get rid of that.
Don't tell anyone.
500,000 solar homes,
Mm-hmm.
if Labour win power and they keep their promises,
Yep.
will be eligible for a $2,200 rebate on top of the federal rebate.
Mm-hmm.
We're not meant to call a rebate.
Yes.
Conditions are the household has to earn less than 180,000 total,
Yep.
and I think the house has to be worth less than 3 million.
There's 3 million households in New South Wales, roughly. And since a lot of them are flats and rentals, that's 500,000. That's going to cover a lot of houses. So
It'll double the amount of solar in New South Wales.
Yes.
But
so
it would probably have doubled anyway.
there's no need. So they're not going to run out of that 500,000 very fast. So no need to rush. But if you haven't got solar on your roof, or by now, it's definitely going to be a huge incentive in New South Wales.
So are New South Welsh men and women going to wait before they get solar? So this is due to come in, if Labour win, on the 1st of July this year. Should they wait?
Most people would wait for that amount of money. Because if you get it installed this month, you'll start saving money immediately. You're not going to save $2,000 unless the system is quite large. So people will wait, I'm afraid, and that's going to make trouble for the solar industry in New South Wales. Then they'll be incredibly busy once it does come in, provided Labor wins the election.
So there's likely to be a lull, followed by an enormous boom.
Yes, exactly.
But you could get your quotes now and book in your install for the 1st of July or thereabouts.
Victoria was very smart. They just announced it and it was straight away.
But there's nothing here for renters.
No, unfortunately not.
It's disappointing. So what, 6.6 kilowatts in New South Wales, nice system, about $6,000, take off $2,200, and you're paying what, 3.8 for a really good 6.6 kilowatt system. That's an absolute bargain. Okay, so if Labour win and they keep their promises, from July the 1st this year in New South Wales, you'll be able to get $2,200 off a solar system. We don't know what size it kicks in at, but I imagine if it's over 5 kilowatts, you'll be laughing.
Yeah.
So that's good, I suppose, apart from the fact that there's nothing for renters.
But it might come. It took Victoria a while to work out what they were doing for renters, so they might have something for renters.
And the fact it's going to make life quite hard to manage for solar installers.
Yeah.
If they get a lull and then a boom.
Yeah. But I trust I trust New South Wales Labor to actually come through on this. I'm sure they're not going to pike.
I mean, the other thing is, at the moment in New South Wales, we can see this through the website activity, solar's flying off the shelves in New South Wales. So why incentivize it more?
Well, I'm in favour of incentives simply because we're not making coal pay for its environmental costs or its health costs. So yeah, it makes logical sense to make fossil fuels pay for the harm they cause rather than subsidise renewables. That's true, but I'll take what I can get.
Okay, so that's Labour's, and if the Liberals win...
It's supposed to be political analysis that say it's 50-50.
So what have the Liberals promised, Ronald?
They promised to subsidise batteries.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? It definitely implies that this 0% loan, which is what they're offering, is only for batteries on their own or batteries plus solar. You can't get it, according to the current wording, just for solar, which is nutty. 70 to 80% of the paybacks from the solar for most people.
Yes, without a subsidy, batteries aren't going to pay for themselves at the moment in New South Wales. A zero interest loan is not going to help. It'll only pay if you get a big fat grant.
Okay, so which one wins, Labour or Liberal?
Well, definitely Labour. It's going to have a better benefit for the environment. It's better for people because if you get a battery in New South Wales, you're not going to save money at the moment. You get solar, yeah, you're going to save a heap of money on your bills. It'll pay for itself with the subsidy in just a few years. It's definitely a good thing for New South Welsh people.
You're just saying that because you're a communist.
Who told you? Was it the beard, the Marxian beard? I'm not a communist. I just say that to
Karl Marx's long lost brother.
Yeah, well, actually, I have read Marx. Yes. They're from falling down the stairs.
Okay. Headline of the week goes to Michael. Solar-powered boat pursuing number 1 and 2.
Yes, this is the poo boat. It's a boat in America which goes around sucking up poo from other boats. It's a very worthwhile cause, I think, because otherwise people will be throwing their poo in the water, and that's just horrible for the water quality.
I imagine it is.
Yeah, when they're all crowded in together, it's terrible.
So what did you like about? What did you think was interesting about this post?
Well,
apart from the poo,
it's a very small boat, but it costs $200,000
US.
Yes, US. That's so it costs as much as a house. I don't know why it costs that much. I don't know how much a non-electric poo boat costs, so I don't want to be too hard on them. But when you look at it, it's something which could definitely be done quite cheaply in the future. Solar panels on top, on the sun cover, and electric outboard motors. And provided they're built correctly, those electric outboard motors should last basically forever. Because electric motors last a long time. There are electric trains which have run for 80 years. They just
Where?
Switzerland and Europe and places.
Wow.
They might have rewired them once or twice, but still running.
Okay. So that's the solar-powered poo boat.
And Michael pointed out that there's not much in the way of creature comforts. There's no stool for the captain. But I think by the end of the day, you'll have plenty of stools on board.
I can see that one coming. Okay. Let's have a look. Solar panel validation initiative a success. So
excellent.
This is about trying to weed out counterfeit solar panels out of the Australian market, because believe it or not, there has been a problem with dodgy solar companies promising you the one I know about was a Canadian solar panels, and they just got any old solar panel and stuck a Canadian solar sticker on. So obviously not Canadian Solar's fault at all, but it is a problem. So what happens here is the installer gets his phone, he scans the barcode of the panel, shoots off to the database, comes back and says, yes, that's a legitimate solar panel. So on the roof, the installer can be confident. Yeah. So it's to protect the installer installing the panels and the sales company that they're getting the panels they ordered, I suppose.
I'd do it if I'd ordered LG or SunPower, because they're pricey. I want to know. Oh, wait. Is SunPower part of the scheme?
Let's have a look on the list, Ronald. Let's name and shame. So,
well, there's LG.
LG's on the list. Who's not on the list? So I'm surprised SunPower's not on the list. I'm not sure why.
They want to be protected.
They're pretty much the most expensive panels you can buy.
Yes. Would you say they look distinctive, so you could tell at a glance?
They do. Who else? Suntech's not on there. Phono's not on there. Seraphim's not on there. They're the ones that jump to mind.
Yes. It's you're not likely to have a problem if they're not on the list, but still a good thing to be on the list.
No, we're just encouraging them to consider joining this scheme because
yes, counterfeiting is rare, but it's still a good idea to take action against it.
Yeah, it'd be great to get those panel manufacturers on board. I'm sure they're looking into it. Anything else you want to say about counterfeit solar panels?
No, don't counterfeit solar panels, kids.
Well, it's not only counterfeit solar panels; it's also grey imports. So you might have a Acme solar panel. And they might have a bunch of models approved in Australia, and they might have a bunch of models not approved in Australia, and you just see the Acme Solar logo and think, or it might be a certain bill of materials, so it might just be the suffix that's different. So it'd be handy for making sure you're getting solar panels that are actually certified for use in Australia, even if they're the same manufacturer. Yeah,
good point.
That's a good thing. It's a good thing. Let's have a look. Tasmania. So
Apple Island.
Yeah, so if you're a farmer in Tasmania, the government will cover 2/3 of the cost of an energy audit. An energy audit, if you're a farmer, is probably a great idea. There's going to be a lot of things where you're using more energy than you should. So once you've got your energy audit done, the Tasmanian farmers can get a grant that covers half the cost of installing solar.
Yep.
What do you think about that, Ronald?
Again, it's a good idea because you're getting more solar out there and it's helping to make Tasmania more proof against droughts and Basslink getting cut again. So
what happened last time Basslink went down?
They borrowed diesel generators from the Philippines. Philippines has a horrible problem with electricity shortages, but because we're richer than the people in the Philippines, we said, here's some cash, let's take them from you poor people, stick them in Tasmania, let's give the Tasmanians some power. And the Philippine companies were fine with that.
So there's a single point of failure there, which is the single Basslink, right?
Yeah. Normally it wouldn't be a problem. Normally there'd be enough rain to keep the dams full and the electricity going, but there wasn't. So they should have drought-proofed Tasmania. If they'd had one extra large wind farm, that would have been enough to get them through without the shortages they had.
So Tasmania is the hardest state to make solar pay because it has low solar installation and a low feed-in tariff. Now, I'm not saying solar doesn't pay, because it does pay. It's just a bit harder to make it work, especially if you have a high heating load. And especially if you've got to think, and they have a off-peak tariff, so you've got to think about what's on the off-peak tariff. Think about how you heat your water. But yeah, I mean, the sad thing for me, you can't do much about the sun, but the feed-in tariff's crap. It's 8.9?
About 8.9, yep.
And you literally go to the other end of the Basslink and you shop around retailers, you can easily get 20-cent feed-in tariff in Victoria now.
Yes. Quite a difference.
Okay. This is a story about lithium-ion recycling.
You know what? I've heard of what recyclers have done in the past.
What's that?
They get lithium batteries, they crunch them up, they pass a magnet over it to strip out the metal, ferrous metals, and they might strip out the copper, and then all the lithium and other metals, they get thrown out because it's not worth processing it. But
so this is actually a offshore, a company that's not based in, the recycling plant is not in Australia. And they
Australian company, but it's in Canada.
And they have a plan to fully recycle lithium-ion batteries. It's in Canada, yes.
Yep. So they're not going to be throwing out those metals. They're going to be reused, which that's a good thing. When they might still be throwing out the lithium and just reusing some of the metals, but if they're reusing something, that's an improvement. So
there is a battery recycling plant in Australia, from a company called EnviroStream. But I'm fairly confident it's just little batteries at the moment.
Yeah. Well, if you open up your Tesla Powerwall, there's little battery cells inside it.
I wouldn't be brave enough to pull apart a Powerwall.
No, it'd be a very bad idea.
You know, yesterday, in fact, I was looking at my monitoring and the house was pulling a kilowatt in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Which is unusual for my house.
Yeah. Oh, good point.
So I went round, looked at all the appliances, they were all off. And the reason I say this is because I isolated it to the circuit that's only has the Powerwall 2 on and a thing called a Edge IQ, which is a voltage regulator that I'm testing. So that circuit was pulling close to 1 kilowatt from midday to 6 p.m. for 6 hours. So it pulled 6 kilowatt hours of energy, and I have no idea where that energy went. It's weird. So I'm investigating. My mate, who's a electrician, had a couple of current clamps. And he promised to come round and put a current clamp on the Powerwall and the Edge IQ, the voltage regulator, until he realised it was Valentine's Day and he promised to take his wife out for dinner.
Oh, well, good thing you remembered then, I think.
We decided that was more important. So there's something funny going on there. I'm not sure what it is. I might have my line diagram of my house might be wrong. There might be something else on that circuit. I've got friend's got a technical contact in Tesla who is adamant it shouldn't be the Powerwall 2. I'll investigate and I'll let you know what it is.
Very curious.
The reason I bring that up is I was reading through the the Powerwall 2 manual to see if there was some kind of weird maintenance mode that pulled a crap load of power. Couldn't find it. But I saw this about the coolant. Warning, according to the US Environmental Protection Agency, coolant can be absorbed through the skin and cause damage to internal organs.
Oh my.
Ensure that it does not touch or enter any part of the body, including but not limited to skin, eyes and mouth. So I don't want to be pulling one of these things apart.
No, definitely not.
These recycling plants are going to have to be pretty careful. And if it's leaking, don't plug the hole with your finger.
No, don't be the little
That's the Dutch way, isn't it?
Yes. Stick your finger in the dike, save the town.
Don't stick your finger in the Powerwall and save the Powerwall.
Definitely not.
Victorian solar hot water rebate, you can get next week, which by the time you watch this will be this week or last week, $1,000 rebate extra from the Victorian state government. But be careful, because if you use that, you lose eligibility for the solar rebate, which is worth $2,200. So if you already have solar and you want solar hot water worth doing, possibly. If you don't have solar, go for the solar rebate would be my advice.
Definitely.
All right, this is yours, Ronald.
Oh yes, nice long article.
3,500 words, mate.
Yeah, there was a lot of effort to get that written actually, because I kept making mistakes and going back and having to fix them.
Australian coal power will be quickly killed by low-cost renewables.
Yes, we'll push it down the stairs.
Tell us more, Ronald.
Australia gets 70% of its electricity from coal. It's down a lot from what it was, but still the bulk of our electricity generation. It's horrible for the environment. There's no way getting around that. And it's also horrible for your health. But the great news is renewables have come down so far in price that it's impossible to get a new coal power station built unless you're going to have a government that subsidizes it, which would be crazy. No government would.
No government would be that crazy.
Do that. Yes, I mean, you'd have to hate your citizens to put money into something which will make them sick and cost more than alternatives. So no one's going to build a new coal power plant. The trouble is the existing coal power plants could keep operating because they're actually quite cheap to run. So, but renewables have become so low. Soon they will be competing with coal power and causing them to go broke. It'll force them to shut down.
Even if coal is free.
If you have enough wind and solar penetration, enough renewables, then it will become unprofitable to run Victoria's brown coal power plants, which have close to free coal, because no one wants the filthy brown coal in Victoria. Has no export value. Yes, even the lowest cost power stations will be shut down once there is enough wind and solar power, because there'll be large periods of time in which the cost of electricity will be either close to zero or actually at zero. The price of electricity can go negative. That means you get paid to use it if you're a big user of electricity, like BHP.
But what happens, Ronald,
Mm-hmm.
when the wind's not blowing and the sun's not shining?
Then you use a dispatchable source of energy to supply the power you want. So this dispatchable source of energy could be a gas turbine. Gas is a fossil fuel. It causes CO2 to be released when it's burned. But if you're only using it some of the time, that is far better than coal. And you definitely don't need to use a gas turbine. You can build seawater pump storage like they're going to do. You can build batteries. You can have a big battery on the grid. You can have smaller batteries in homes and businesses. They're building a concentrated solar power plant with thermal storage that will provide power at night. We've got studies showing that it's cheaper to run off solar, wind, and dispatchable energy, and that's cheaper than trying to run things off coal.
We covered this last week, but
Yeah,
I'll say it
I'm
again.
passionate about it.
Baseload is bullshit. It's going, and it will soon be gone, and it will be variable renewables firmed by dispatchable energy, whether it's gas, whether it's hydro, whether it's batteries, and that's the way it's going. And what was quite depressing, well, it always is it's the comments. How many did you get? 25. From, how do I put this nicely? I assume it's old guys who have got the coal mindset and can't let go of coal. I mean, I don't know what's going through their head. I mean, yeah, they'll be dead by the time the planet's ravaged by climate change, but their kids won't, their grandkids won't. There's pretty much everyone has now accepted the science of climate change. The thing that's really scary when you talk to climate scientists, my sister's a climate scientist, is, positive feedback loops kicking in.
Yeah.
Google Arctic methane bomb, and you'll learn about positive feedback loops. And if I'm an old control engineer, positive feedback loops mean exponential change, basically. And we're approaching positive feedback loops in terms of CO2 concentration, and that's this is scary shit. And to have old coal, I assume, loving people still telling us we should use more coal, it's a death warrant on the planet. And that sounds like scaremongering, but just Google Arctic methane bomb, Google positive feedback loops. It's really scary. I think we're going to have to resort to geoengineering personally. I don't want to, but I think it's going to get that serious that quickly as things get exponential. But anyway, that's depressing. Last blog post of the week. We're there already.
We're there already. It's very sad, this one.
Go on.
Oh, well, poor old Opportunity, the rover on Mars, is now officially deceased. After 15 years toddling around Mars, collecting data, taking snapshots and sending them off to us, she has died.
So it was solar panels and a battery.
That's right. Solar panels and a battery was all she needed. Lithium battery, pretty fancy, very tough one. It lasted 15 years. So if you buy a battery and it lasts 15 years, you'll be doing as well as this Mars rover.
Do you think it was still under warranty?
No, because it was only a 90-day mission originally. Actually, they pretty confident would last more than 90 days, but I think they're just covering their behinds.
If they bought it in Australia and it was still under warranty, the manufacturer would have to cover the return delivery.
Yes, that's true. That's going to be pricey. You'd have to ask Elon Musk for a price on that. It wouldn't be cheap.
How well does solar work on Mars?
Mars receives 43% the solar insolation that Earth does at the top of its atmosphere and the top of Earth's atmosphere. So Mars is a long way away from the sun.
Is that worse than Tasmania?
Yeah, even worse than Tasmania. It could generate 1 kilowatt hour of electricity a day when new on Mars. And maybe, I don't know the details, maybe 5,000 cycles, 5,000 battery cycles were used by Opportunity in its lifetime. So
Okay.
yeah, it did very well. And those were pretty fancy solar cells it had. But they weren't the fanciest, because you might think NASA would use the latest stuff, but they actually go with what they're confident will be reliable. So, but in the future, they think probes going out as far as Saturn could get by with just solar panels. No need for a nuclear radioactive isotope generator. So,
You love this science fiction shit, don't you?
Yeah.
Should we have a minute's silence?
No, that'd be boring.
We can do it after the...
Oh yeah, we'll do it afterwards. Everyone, a minute silence after this.
So before we go, what are you writing about at the moment, Ronald?
The Canberra Battery Test Centre has put out an update on its on the batteries it's testing. So
In September, last September.
Yeah, okay. I admit I was a bit slow.
It was a commenter that brought that to our attention. Thank you.
But yes, maybe I can do this one, and maybe next week they'll have a new report out, and I can do that one. But, yeah.
Okay. Any interesting revelations?
Yes, but I'll keep it to myself for now, because in case people get cross at me. I need to look very carefully and see, okay, this did badly, but is there an explanation why this battery did badly? I don't want to blurt it out and make someone sound bad.
Okay. If I get time this week, I will be writing about amber electric, as in traffic lights, amber.
Yeah, I wrote about them.
I sent Chris at Amber my solar analytics data. I'm very impressed with Amber. They're very transparent, unlike some other companies that pay premium feed-in tariffs. Yes, and he told me what my bill would have been if I'd been on Amber instead of AGL, who I'm on. So I've got 6 kilowatts of solar and a battery. For the 3 months, which was October, November, December, my AGL bill was $120 credit. My bill with Amber would have been $30, not a credit.
Okay.
So it's not bad.
Not bad. No.
And it includes full carbon offset of anything drawn from the grid. And that's with exposure to the wholesale electricity rate for imports and exports.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yes, I could definitely benefit a lot of people out there.
Well, the interesting thing is there were times when the wholesale price went to $14.50 a kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
And with some relatively smart battery software, you could I could have pumped out all my energy in those times. So the plan is I want to just crunch the numbers and see if I'd taken advantage of those high export prices, if I could have beaten my AGL bill. So
yeah, it'd be interesting.
That's what I hope to write about.
Okay, good.
Okay. That was that from the SolarQuotes blog this week.
Take care, don't fall downstairs.
Now for a minute's silence.
Now for a minute's silence.